Welcome to today's episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sutter, and me, Tyler Tiger. Let's get this going. And I'm a writer for FootballAnalysisOne.com. I cover the Cincinnati Bengals and the NFL. Yesterday I published a gallery about the top fantasy running backs in the NFL this year. Check that out. Also, a breakdown of the Bengals' struggles with contract negotiations the last 15 years or so. This is not a new problem for the Bengals. They're dirty business dealers, you know? Yeah, they are dirty business dealers. Also, I covered the CFL news stuff. I covered Hamilton Tiger Cats specifically. They are on a bye week this week, so we haven't heard a lot of Hamilton Tiger Cats news. Also, on Football Scientific, we cover the UFL, the NAL, the IFL, and the ELF. NAL is done. UFL is done for this year. There are a few people being signed to the NFL, so I'll still talk a little about the UFL as we go. But today we're going to get ahead of ourselves a little bit. We're going out of town tomorrow for a family reunion in Indiana, rural Indiana. I'm not sure if I'll be able to produce videos there or whatever and load them properly. So I'm going to get ahead and do some predictions. Catch up with things a little bit. We have everything we need for the predictions, except we do not have the IFL's, DraftKings betting line to make a betting guide if you're into that. So if that comes around, that'll probably be released, tomorrow or Friday. But when I get that, I'll add that probably to a short and just go through my gambling betting guide for the IFL if you're into that, okay? I wouldn't gamble on the IFL, but if you did, you should follow the betting guide. Follow our guide. We'll make you some money, y'all. Whoop, 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 beep, 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 beep. Okay, set up. No more robot. Okay. All right, so first, some NFL news. Tyreek Hill recently put on social media that he ran a 10.15 second 100-meter dash. That's impressive. He was lined up to do a race with Olympic 100-meter sprinter Noah Lyles. But since Tyreek Hill released his 10.15 second announcement, Noah Lyles has tapped out of that competition. He's like, no, I don't want to get beat by a football player. He tapped out because of personal reasons. He doesn't want to get beat by a football player. New York Giants rookie quarterback Jackson Dart, he's fitting right in with the New York Giants. Yeah, they're all having a real amazingly bad time. Probably throwing some picks and taking some sacks, according to quarterback or head coach Brian Dable. Jackson Dart fitting right in, throwing interceptions. Maybe he might be better than that. I don't know. Next, former Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs III. Remember, 4 years ago he killed a lady in a drunk driving accident. He was driving like 100 miles an hour in Las Vegas, which is not unheard of, but he did kill somebody. He's serving his prison sentence. He got out so he could do a special event where he got to apologize publicly to the family of the woman he killed. And he says, hey, while I'm out here, I'd like to go back to the NFL when I get out of prison and play for Las Vegas Raiders. He's going to be in prison. Probably in real crappy shape. New England Patriots safety Jabril Peppers. He's been in some legal trouble recently, but he's not been cut by the Patriots yet. In his free time, he's become a rapper. He is now known as J Pep, and he has a rap single, Point 'Em Out. Boom. Now, that's not a gun reference. Never mind. Okay, no gun references. Jabril Peppers. He's having some trouble, so he made a rap song. He's going to change careers. Patriots are like, what are we doing? Stephon Diggs, Powder, and Jabril Peppers with the rap song? Are we the old school Raiders? Los Angeles Raiders from the 80s? Feels like it. Atlanta Falcons, they signed from the UFL, San Antonio Brahmas running back Jashaun Corbin, who had a nice season. Nice season, not great. We went at 1-9. He ran for 514 yards and amazingly 4 touchdowns. Falcons wanting, they're like, hey, you won't be up rep to Bijan Robinson. Come play with us. He'll be on practice while he'll get cut. Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans, just looking around the league, says the Houston Texans wide receiver Nico Collins is the closest to him in terms of quality in the NFL. Okay. Hope doesn't mean Nico Collins is trash, because Nico Collins is on my fantasy team. A+. The one with keepers. Denver Broncos, that's how I know he's on the fantasy team. We haven't drafted yet, in case you're wondering. No, we can't do it until after training camp. Okay. Denver Broncos, they signed another UFL player, former Birmingham Stallions cornerback Mario Goodman. They need a good man for the job. Good Mario Goodman. They need Mario Goodman. I don't know. I don't know what that is. All right, Green Bay Packers President CEO Ed Policy, not to be confused with Carmen Policy from the 49ers back in the 80s. He said, after thinking about it, he's not going to extend a contract extension to head coach Matt LaFleur or general manager Brian Gutekunst. It's a prove it year for him. He says, I want to see what they can do, bro. So, look, the Bengals aren't the only ones being shady. Boop, boop. Okay, UFL Arlington Renegades tight end Seth Green is signing with the New Orleans Saints. They'll have another tight end to cut. New York Jets released kicker Anders Carlson, so they could pick up UFL Birmingham Stallions kicker Harrison Meebus. He will probably make the team. Kickers, the UFL kickers are really good. They've already kind of set that precedent. Their kickers are very, very good. Boom, in IFL. We're switching up from NFL to IFL. In IFL, Massachusetts Pirates released linebacker Boshan Joseph. They signed defensive back something or other. And they put on short-term IR running back Tyon Evans. I don't know. I wrote on that one. Sabra Mounty. Okay. Either way, they got two defensive back. And they lost Boshan Joseph. They dropped him. Vegas Nighthawks, they did a trade with Northern Arizona for an offensive lineman. No linebacker. They traded for a linebacker, Chisarum Umamaka. He's now with the Vegas Nighthawks. And Northern Arizona Wranglers got future considerations in trade with him for Pirates home for next year, since they're out of the playoff run already. On the short-term IR list, the Vegas Nighthawks moved defensive line Mayan Ahamatu. Yes, Ahamatu. Ahamatu. Okay. Boom. Next, in the IFL continued, Green Bay Blizzard. They released defensive back Isaiah Jacobs. They released wide receiver Harry Ballard. They did activate from the short-term IR list offensive lineman Roderick Williams. And then they activated from the short-term IR list wide receiver Zane Lewis. That's why they released Harry Ballard. Iowa Barnstormers, they signed wide receiver Darion Conrad. They released offensive lineman Shamari Williams. Quad City Steamers, they had an offensive line retire. That's what I meant to say, retire. Christoph Atkinson retired from the Quad City Steamers. He must be hurting a little bit. They signed offensive line Javion Caldwell to take Christoph Atkinson's spot. So this next man up. Jacksonville Sharks made a bunch of moves trying to, get back into securing a title, playoff spot. So they released defensive back Jordan Whitley. They released defensive back Malik Fleming after getting torched by the Green Bay Blizzard last week. They released defensive lineman Cale Edwards. They signed running back DeMontre Tuggle. They're trying to get that running game going again. It's really been struggling. It's all been Tyler Huff at quarterback. They signed defensive lineman Gimonte Peck. And they signed defensive back Lan Correa Pleasant Johnson. So they're trying to, change the ID lineman, change the IDB, got a new running back. They're trying to make a playoff run. Now's the time in the IFL, these last 5 weeks, you got to make a playoff run, okay? And they're going for it. They should make the playoffs. I mean, they got to get to 10 wins. It's a race to 10 wins. Helvetic Mercenaries, they lost quarterback Isaiah Weed for at least 3 weeks. That's a big hit to them, and not that they've been very good. They're over. But Isaiah Weed's made some progress for him on offense, but he's out now for 3 weeks. It's a problem being deals with quarterback. Helvetic Mercenaries signed quarterback Josiah Norwood, who previously played for the Rocklaw Panthers. He's played quarterback and wide receiver. He's a good dual threat quarterback, so he should fit in well for Isaiah Weed. They play the T-Roll Raiders. I think they're going to lose to the T-Roll Raiders, but you never know. New quarterback might invigorate him. Then the Vikings, they had to move defensive back Amani Darum to the IR list, and they signed defensive back Devin Tay. So we'll see how that goes. And the CFL, just today, this is breaking news in the CFL. Calgary St. Peters placed wide receiver Reggie Bagleton on the 6-week IR list. He's hurt. He's hurt real bad, so he's on the long-term IR list. They signed American offensive lineman William Barnes. They signed American linebacker Maurice Blushton. Okay, so that's it. All right, so that's the news. Next, we get into our predictions for this weekend. First, in the CFL, we already mentioned the Ticats are on bye week. We have Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, with the Montreal Alouettes traveling to the Edmonton Elks. Montreal's 0-2. They keep scoring defensive touchdowns. They played solid offense. They played Edmonton Elks, who are dumpster fire. With the Elks, it's only their second game. They're coming off a bye week. They'll probably compete pretty well. Coming off a bye week, they'll probably compete pretty well. I think they're sloppy, just like everyone else in the CFL so far against Montreal. So I think Montreal will cash in another defensive touchdown. If you remember, that's the key to winning games, score a defensive touchdown. I say Montreal wins on the road against Edmonton 33-20, scoring 54 total points. DraftKings mostly agrees with me. They have Montreal being a 6.5-point favorite on the road. That means Edmonton's 6.5 underdog at home, and the over-under is at 48.5. I say it goes over that. I think Edmonton will show up better than expected. I also think they'll turn the ball over for a touchdown. So they're going to lose the game, y'all. Friday, June 20th, 7:30 p.m. We got Saskatchewan Roughriders who are 2-0, going to Toronto, who's 0-2. Toronto did not show well last week against Montreal. Saskatchewan Roughriders looked very good against Ottawa and Hamilton. So with that in mind, I think Saskatchewan's going to come out and continue to look good. Well-balanced offense. They scored on defense last week on an interception. Good special teams. They're a solid team. Okay, I think they're going to beat Toronto with Nick Arbuckle at quarterback for one last week. Most likely, they're going to beat them 30-20 in my mind, and they're going to get 50 total points. DraftKings mostly agrees. They have Saskatchewan Roughriders as a 2.5-point favorite, aka Toronto's a 2.5-point underdog. I got the over/under set at 48. I'd say it just goes barely over 48. I got the over. Saturday, June 21st, 4 p.m. Eastern, we got the Ottawa Red Blacks, who are 0-2, traveling to the Calgary Stampeders, who are 2-0. Another 0-2 versus 2-0. Calgary Stampeders, they're losing Reggie Bagleton, but I know they have been winning with their running game. Good defense, and the running game has taken them this far. Get to 2-0. Our Red Blacks have not ran the ball well, and they've been very sloppy in offense. That's a recipe for Calgary to get their third win in the season at home. They're going to win 34-21 against Ottawa Red Blacks. That's going to be 55 total points scored. Okay, this is one where DraftKings does not agree with me. They do not believe in the Calgary Stampeders. They say Ottawa Red Blacks are a 1-point favorite. Not a very big favorite, but a 1-point favorite on the road. And it said the total point score would be 51.5. I say Calgary wins this game 34-21. And they go over, okay? So I would take Calgary with the money line on that. And then Saturday, June 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern, Winnipeg Blue Bombers travel to BC Lions. They played in Winnipeg last week. Winnipeg putting a hurt on the BC Lions. Winnipeg's 1-0. BC Lions are 1-1. I think it'll be closer than last week. I think Nathan Rourke tends to struggle against Winnipeg, though, home or away. So I think Winnipeg will get a huge road win in BC, 31-26. That's 57 total points. I think it will be a lot of points. DraftKings agrees with me. They said Blue Bombers are a 3-point favorite. So I take the money line on that, and I take the over on that. So let's recap those bets real quick. So first, on Montreal and Edmonton, DraftKings says Montreal is the favorite by 6.5 points. I agree. I'm picking money line on that, and I'm going over with 54 points. Friday night's game, DraftKings says Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to win that game by 2.5 points. I agree, but I think they'll win by a little more, so I'll go money line on Saskatchewan Roughriders and go over 48 points with 50 points. The Saturday game, early Saturday game, Ottawa Redblacks at Calgary Stampeders. I think Ottawa does not have what it takes to knock out Stampeders. They can't stop the run well enough, and they're sloppy. I think Calgary will make them pay for that. I'm taking Calgary with the money line, not the points, even though you could, because it's going to pay off more to have the money line. I'm guaranteed they're going to win that game. Over on 51.5, I'm going over on that. And then finally, Saturday, June 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern, Winnipeg Blue Bombers, BC Lions, 1 and over is 1-1. DraftKings says Winnipeg 3-point favorites. I actually agree. I'm going to go money line, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And I'm going to go over 50 points. So keep an eye on that. CFL predictions. Okay. In the ELF. Okay. In the ELF, we get the T-Roll Raiders and the Helvetic Mercenaries. T-Roll Raiders, Helvetic Mercenaries. T-Roll played a lot better last week. Helvetic has a quarterback issue. I think T-Roll can run the ball much better than Helvetic can. So T-Roll Raiders 3-2, Helvetic Mercenaries 0-4. I'm going T-Roll Raiders pick up the road win, 32-17. Total points is 49. Ryan Fire I expected to win against Hamburg last week. They seem to be a team that can beat the bad teams, but not the good teams. They're playing Vienna Vikings, who are one of the best teams. So the 2-2 Ryan Fire travels to the Vienna for 4-0. I say Vienna knocks them out, but not as decisively as you might think. So I think Vienna, that's similar to, they really, they beat them last time. They played already once, and they beat them by quite a bit. I think this game will be more like the championship game, more wide open. I think Vienna Vikings win the game 36-19, scoring 55 points. Wroclaw Panthers, 2-2 versus Nordic Storm, 4-0. I think Wroclaw is solid, but they're not as good as Nordic Storm. I got the Nordic Storm picking up their 5th win in a row as an expansion team. Not really, because they got most of the Ryan Fire championship team. But I got Nordic Storm winning this game 42-24. I do think Wroclaw will put up a pretty good fight. But we'll find out. And I have 66 total points being scored. So it should be a high-scoring event. Sunday games. June 22nd, Prague Lions traveling to Hamburg Sea Devils. Hamburg Sea Devils really, as I said last week, they really wanted to win that game, but you could not. It seems obvious. Yes, you really want to win the game, but they couldn't. Prague Lions are 2-2. They had a bye week last week. They're climbing the standings. Hamburg Sea Devils are 2-3. They're they're flopping around like they normally do. I say Prague Lions are feeling the juice. I think they'll come into Hamburg and knock them off. That'll be a huge road win for the Prague Lions, 26-17. Total points 43. I think it's going to be a huge win for Prague. Munich Ravens 3-1. Travel to Berlin Thunder 2-3. Berlin Thunder is a paper lion. Okay, it's an old book reference to a paper lion. I mean, they're not as good as they appear to be. I have Munich win this game 36-26. And if you keep track at home, that is 62 points. That's a lot of points. I think Munich showed last week they can score a bunch of points. And we already know they have a good defense. We know Berlin likes to come out and shoot it out too. So I think this will be a tough game for the Munich Ravens defense. But I do think the Berlin Thunder are going to make at least 2 critical errors, 2 turnovers. And Munich will make them pay for it and win the game 36-26 with 62 total points being scored. Cologne Centurions 0-4 and the worst team in the league right now. Traveled to the Stuttgart Surge, who are 3-1. They're looking pretty good. I think I had number 3 in power rankings this week. I say Stuttgart Surge. They tend to play down to people, so they're not going to play as well as you would think. They might beat them by 70 points, but I think they're going to beat them 31-8. Total points be 39. I think they're going to manage the game from there. Okay. Frankfurt Galaxy are 3-2, coming off a shutout loss to the Nordic Storm. I think they'll be frustrated. They're going to Paris Musketeers, who are good, but they're not as good as the Nordic Storm. They're 2-2. I have Frankfurt bouncing back from their loss to the Nordic Storm with a 28-20 win. Total points being scored is 48 points, putting Frankfurt back in the playoff run. Okay? All right. Last set of scores. This is the IFL predictions, I guess. Remember, the DraftKings announcements are not released yet, so I'll save these, and I will probably update that with a short on our betting guide on Friday night or tomorrow if we can see it before we head out to Indiana. Okay, IFL Week 14, Saturday, June 21st, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. These are all on the IFL Network. Tulsa Oilers are 7-4, traveling to the Massachusetts Pirates, who are 5-5. Massachusetts is trying to close the gap on the Tulsa Oilers. So for Massachusetts, this is essentially a playoff game, and maybe for Tulsa too. If Tulsa loses to Massachusetts in Massachusetts, which they're tough in Massachusetts, if Tulsa loses this game, they'll be 7-5. Massachusetts will be 6-5. They'll be a half game behind, and they will have a tiebreaker over the Tulsa Oilers from getting the win. So this is a huge game for Massachusetts and Coach Manas with Massachusetts. Tulsa Oilers, if they really want to clinch a playoff spot, they need to win this game. Are they going to clinch this game? No. The race is to 10 wins. The race to 10 wins to make the playoffs. Well, they need to beat Massachusetts Pirates to create some space there. Boop. Massachusetts Pirates would be basically a half game out of a playoff spot if they win this game against Tulsa this week. Okay? I say Tulsa wins the game 44-39. Total points being scored is 83. I think Tulsa really wants to go to the playoffs. They have a great fan base. They really deserve to go to the playoffs, honestly. I think they're going to come out and be motivated. They're not going to turn the ball over. Massachusetts might. They usually do. So I think Tulsa wins the game 44-39 in a crazy game. 83 total points being scored. Saturday, June 21st, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Green Bay Blizzard traveled to the Fisher's Freight. Remember last week, Fisher's Freight traveled to Green Bay Blizzard, and it did not go well. Did not go well for Fisher's Freight. It was 2 weeks ago. Okay. Green Bay Blizzard are coming off a huge win against a blowout win over the Jacksonville Sharks. They look like the best team in the East, honestly, right now. Not by record, but they're only one game out of first place in the East. They won the East last year. The race is to probably 12 wins to get that top spot. They have 5 games left. I think they may get there. Fisher's Freight are a 9-game losing streak. They are crashing and burning hard. That's what happens to expansion teams in the IFL. I say Green Bay Blizzard wins this game on the road, 54-37. Their offense is outstanding. Their defense leaves some to be desired, but their offense is crazy good. I think Green Bay will win 54-37 with the total points being 91. Saturday, June 21st, 7:05 p.m. Eastern, we got Quad City Steamrollers, the top team in the East and top team in my power rankings right now. The IFL traveling to Jacksonville Sharks. This is a huge game, okay, because this is a potential playoff matchup. Right now, these teams will be facing each other in the first round of the playoffs if they have playoffs. So this is essentially a playoff game, okay? Remember, Massachusetts is lurking back there. If Jacksonville loses to Quad City and goes down to 7-5, and Massachusetts beats Tulsa, Massachusetts is now a half game out of the second and third and fourth spot in the East. So they're going to be a threat if Tulsa can't beat Massachusetts. Jacksonville needs to get a win here at home. Quad City Steamrollers, Daquan Neal. They have not lost a game with Daquan Neal at quarterback. There are 2 losses when he was hurt. I say it's going to be a tough game. Quad City comes into Jacksonville and wins 44-43. 1-point win for 87 total points. That's going to be a crazy game, I believe. Okay. Saturday, June 21st, 9:05 p.m. Eastern. Iowa Barnstormers travel to the Vegas Nighthawks. Iowa Barnstormers are on the road. They are inconveniently inconsistent. When I think I know what they're going to do, they do the opposite sides. I say my thought is they're going to get blown out by the Vegas Nighthawks. But I know it's probably not true. So I have Vegas Nighthawks win this game 48-44. scoring 92 total points. I don't think they're capable of blowing out a team right now, including the Iowa Barnstormers. It's going to be a tough matchup with lots of scoring. The Vegas Nighthawks defense needs to do some work. Saturday, June 21st, 9:05 p.m. Eastern. We got Northern Arizona Wranglers who are 1-10. Traveling Tucson Sugar Skulls who are 4-6. Tucson Sugar Skulls are barely hanging on to a playoff thread. Beating Arizona Rattlers last week was huge to help them move forward. If you would like to, bet on that, then you might make sure you use DraftKings. I'll probably pick a short next week or tomorrow on that once those standings come out. Northern Arizona Wranglers, Tucson Sugar Skulls. I say Sugar Skulls win 38-34 and they hang into the playoff run. 72 total points. I think they want to make the playoffs and they got a chance. They got to come out and win a few more games. And I got to hope Vegas loses. I don't think it's going to happen. Arizona Rattlers, 7-4, travel to Bay Area Panthers. That's a huge matchup. This could be a first-round matchup as well, with Rattlers kind of falling out of the standings. But when you get to the playoffs, everything it starts over. It doesn't matter what you did. Getting to the playoffs is the goal, and once you get there, it does not matter who's seeded what. Okay, so I got this week. I think Bay Area is a more balanced team. I'm watching the games, but I'm not sure why the Rattlers keep missing opportunities. There's no glaring reason for them to have 3 straight losses, especially close ones, especially 3 overtimes against Tucson last week when they had a 25-point lead and blew it in the second half. That's just poor management of the game. That's what you're seeing. It's poor game management. So I think Bay Area is going to come out and play smarter football than Arizona right now. I have them winning. Bay Area winning 54-49 with 103 points scored. And I say Rattlers take their 4th loss in a row. They need to start winning a few games so they don't get knocked out of the playoffs. See, that's who Tucson could catch. And they have a win over the Rattlers, so they could catch them. So Rattlers need to pick it up. But I think Bay Area wins this game 54-49 and goes 103 points. And then finally, San Antonio Gunslingers traveled to San Diego Strikeforce. Last time they played in San Antonio, Strikeforce lost by 1 point, 49-48 in overtime after missing an extra point. Sad face. At San Diego tends to be better at San Diego. San Antonio Gunslingers tend to be better at home as well. So San Antonio Gunslingers are 3-8. San Diego Strikeforce is 7-4. I think San Diego Strikeforce will run the ball better than San Antonio, and they'll play better defense. So I have them winning this game at home, 41-33, 74 points being scored. Also have the motivation because if you're with the San Antonio Gunslingers, you may not be that motivated to play right now. It seems like you're out of the playoff run, but not officially probably. All right, so that is the IFL. That's our predictions for today. Hope you enjoyed early prediction palooza plus our NFL news. If we have time, we'll come back tomorrow and maybe talk about those betting lines from the IFL sometime. Otherwise, it'll be a short. So enjoy your afternoon. Keep watching Football Scientific. Yes, keep watching Football Scientific. Remember, you can also read articles on footballanalysis1.com. You can also read articles on CFLnewshub.com. You can go through and subscribe to the video and like the video so it shows them your algorithm. We don't care if you do that or not, but it's nice if you want to distribute the information. Now, today we didn't go through a mini clinic. I didn't know what I want to talk about. So if you have ideas, shoot them. I can talk about anything. I think that's the problem. There's too much I can talk about. Yesterday I went through the flux capacitor of championship football. And if you watch any of these games and games film, you'll see what I'm talking about the whole time. So I'm not sure what else we can talk about right now in football. We may come back next week. Next week is dead week for practice, so we may talk some X's and O's throughout the week. So we'll see how it goes. All right, well, have a good day. And remember, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Have a great day!